Good evening. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professionals, IGP. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professionals, IGP. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us till the end. Honorable knowledge seekers, today I am your host for the evening. My name is Premalata. I am from Bangladesh. Dear knowledge seekers, I am proud to be associated with IGP. IGP is a social and ISO certified international education and training institute. In the last years, we have already served 35 million plus knowledge seekers from 100 plus countries. IGP is internationally recognized and globally accredited. We are connected to more than 450 plus professionals and 4,500 plus organizations. Industry of Global Professionals IGP and ISO 9001 2051 till 2018 is a training facility for skill development which was founded in 2020 and is generating competent candidates to meet demand in the global labor market by providing professional qualification. The Institute of Global Professionals is an educational institute that provides social work globally recognized and reputable. We serve students and community researchers providing holistic social work and education. We believe that research effectively increases one's skills just by acquiring formal education, so we provide effective training and consultation to generate professional generations all over the world. We distribute our services locally in the national and international students, job seekers, job holders, and also for learners. Through respective campus location and distance learning platforms, we are an occupational and dependable institution. IGP is one of the famous online institutes from all over the world. Our mission is education is not a business model. It's a part of our human right. Based on our mission, we are trying to reach all corners of the world for free webinars, seminars, courses, awards, quiz competition, monitoring, and counseling at home. On the other side, we are also trying to offer more than 100 premium services for creating your portfolio website, resume builder, cover letter, motivation letter, or knowledge platform for gathering general knowledge which can update all day. Cards learning game website, free courses, converter sites, and many more. We have to empower you to learn to meet their expectations and dreams and become highly skilled people. We implement several training programs, webinars, and offer online courses for youth and learners by professional trainers. Speakers and coaches. Our sessions are conducted by globally renowned professionals to develop all kinds of youth and to promote the education of their abilities and personalities. Spreading knowledge is crucial for the nature of global professionals. We believe that knowledge is love and light and vision. So we try to understand the needs of today's generation and to serve them with good research and practice methods. We must have a genuine concern for the learners who represent more diversity, growth, and innovation are required. To lead is passionate professionalism, passion, and integrity. RGP members are committed to offering effective best quality service and continual improvement so that individuals who seek information can improve their skill levels and better. Before I move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very relevant to us. Thank you. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very relevant to us. Thank you. Moving to the next with your continuous support, you have already completed 1,542 webinars successfully. Wow. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, you have already completed 1,540 every successfully. Wow, dear IGP speaker, participant, and all users at this moment. This is a very important message for you all. We changed and designed our website www.radioigp.com. On this website, we receive surprises for everyone who will be benefited. We already launched our new website where you can find all our previous activities together with lots of new features. But one strong point is that without an account or login, you can change our services. So create your account for once with your proper information. Note that with your proper information, you will enjoy features with mismatched data you can go in there. From now on, you have to participate in live quiz competitions on our website. We replace slide, you have to join directly on our website. Now you can check all of our previous webinars with verified e-certificates. Now it's easier and time oriented because after this session we will not provide with any code for certification. You have to take part in one exam. After that, if you pass, you will receive a certificate, otherwise not. But you can take part in one exam unlimited till you pass. If you are a IGP speaker, you can download your previous certificate, scholarship certificate. If you are a host of IGP, you can download a certificate of graduate. If you are an online quiz competition, you can download a certificate of participation. If you are selected for a lifetime membership, then you can download a certificate of lifetime membership easily. Besides this, if you participate in any award function or organized component support with IGP, you can download that also. You can instantly prepare and download 80 types of innocent certificates from our website within a minute. Certificate of Global Professional Membership, Certificate of Global Influencer during the pandemic, Certificate of Active Knowledge Seeker, Certificate of Social Activities during the pandemic, Certificate of Active and IGP Knowledge Conference 2020, Certificate of Active and IGP Knowledge Conference 2021, Certificate of Active and IGP Knowledge Income 2022, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 1, Authentic Assessment in Teaching, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 2, Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment, Certificate of Certificate of Organization, Authentic Assessment in Teaching, Certificate of Participation Webinar, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 2, English, Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 3, Digital Classroom Engagement Tools, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 4, The New Trends in Education, Certificate of Participation Webinar Series 5, Upskilling Social Leadership and Managerial Skill. Certificate of Participation in Series Trends and Innovation Mathematics Education. Certificate of Participation in Series 7 Research Conceptual. Certificate of Participation in Series 8 Art and Teaching Special Program in the Arts. Certificate of Participation in Series 9 21st Century Tools in Teaching Mathematics. Certificate of IGP Corporate Ambassador. Certificate of IGP Campus Ambassador, which you can prepare and download within a minute. From now on, you can participate in 1000% international level quizzes with verified certificates. Teaching tips for teachers, head tips for parents, head tips for teenage, gamification tools for teachers. You can join IGP Alumni. You can check out our 50 plus premium services website for free. And many more, dear IGP World issues. We promised previously, but lack of technical issues, we are sending you time. This is a great opportunity to collect your previous credentials to solve our issues from our website. Now you can enroll, reset password, everything. You can check your dashboard for all details. It's a cordial request to check all buttons and pages on our website. Share, like, and say will be benefited. Thank you. After logging into the account and login, you can enjoy our services. At present, we are going to start our 1542. The program name is The Power of Active The Power of Active Listening in the Workplace. And the today's speaker is Maria Lorislo, and she is from Philippines, and she is also a special education counselor and development educator. Um, before Now is very important message for moment for me. Invite our speaker to in IGP with her presentation. Now it's very important moment for me. Invite our speaker to IGP with her presentation.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you. It's my
Hello,
pleasure
ma'am.
to it's my pleasure to share my knowledge or my experiences about the power of active listening in the workplace.
Okay, ma'am.
That Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much. And this is my third time to be part of the IPG. And I work as a developmental educator in the Philippines. I handle special children. I do run my own special education center. And I also do instructional coaching for teachers. And I'm a research consultant as well. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Hello?
Ma'am, present your presentation.
Yeah, can I start? Should I start now? Can I start with my presentation now?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll start with my topic now. Okay, can you see now my presentation? Is it clear?
Uh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very
Now,
much. I'm going to share now. I'm going to start with my topic now.
yes, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, and good afternoon to all. I'm from Philippines, Manila, Philippines, and I'm gonna share with you regarding the power of active listening in the workplace. We all know that communication skills are beneficial in and out of the workplace. And having the ability to clearly communicate instructions, ideas, and concepts can help us find success in any career with practice. Anyone could develop their communication skills. One of the most critical skills in effective communication is what we call the active listening. Diba? Developing this kind of soft skills will help us build and maintain relationships, solve problems, improve processes, and retain information such as instructions, procedures, and expectations. Okay, what is active listening? Active listening promotes better understanding, trust, and respect in the workplace. It leads improved productivity, creativity, problem solving skills. Active listening is the ability to focus completely on a speaker, understanding their message, comprehend the information, and respond thoughtfully. Unlike when you talk about passive listening, which is the act of hearing a speaker without retaining their message. This highly valued interpersonal communication skills ensures that you're able to engage and later try to recall specific details without needing information to be repeated. Active listeners use verbal and nonverbal techniques and to show and to keep their attention on the speaker. This not only supports your ability to focus but also helps ensure the speaker can see that you are focused and engaged. Instead of thinking about and mentally rehearsing what you might say when the speaker is done, an active listener carefully considers the speaker's words and commits the information to memory. Okay, there are different stages of active listening. The listening process involves five stages, which is receiving, understanding, evaluating, remembering, responding. Listening is a skill of critical significance in all aspects of our lives. From maintaining our relationships to getting our jobs done to taking notes in class, figuring out which bus to take to the airport. Regardless of how we're engaged with listening, it's important to understand that listening involves more than just hearing what is directed at us. Listening is an active process in which we make sense of to assess and respond to what we hear. What is the first? We're going to share with you the first stage of listening. But before we do that, is that we're going to go back again about active listening. Active listening is particularly a communication technique that requires the listener to provide feedback on what he or she hears the speaker by restating or paraphrasing what you or what we have heard in their own words. Okay? The goal of this repetition is to confirm that the listener has heard and to confirm the understanding of both parties. The ability to actively listen demonstrates sincerity and that nothing is being assumed or taken for granted. Active listening is most often used to improve, as what I've said earlier, personal relationships, reduce misunderstandings and conflicts, strengthening cooperation, and foster understanding. The first stage is what we call the receiving stage. This first stage of listening process is the receiving stage, which is involves hearing and attending. Okay, hearing is the physiological process of registering sound waves as they hit the eardrum. As obvious as this may seem, in order to actively gather information through listening, we must first be able to physically hear what we're listening to. The clearer the sound, the easier the listening process becomes. Okay? Paired with hearing is what we call attending. Attending is the other half of the receiving stage in the listening process. Attending is the process of accurately identifying and interpreting particular sounds we hear as words. The sounds that we hear have no meaning until we give them their meaning in context. Listening is an active process that constructs meaning from both verbal and nonverbal messages. There is some sort of challenges in terms of reception or receptive. Listeners are often bombarded with a variety of auditory stimuli all at once, or if they go all together, that you're going to have some sort of sensory overload. So they must learn to differentiate which of those stimuli are speech sounds and which are not. Okay, you're going to have some sort of sensory overload if you're going to have to hear a lot of noises that you cannot filter it anymore. Do not know which one is important and which one is not important anymore. You have to understand that. Yeah. Effective listening involves being able to focus on speech sounds while disregarding other noises. For instance, when you take an MRT or an if you're an MRT passenger, you're taking the MRT. You hear the captain's voice or the one announcing, the one in the pager, or the one who's announcing it. You over the loudspeaker. You understand that the captain is speaking. Then the dispatcher, what the captain is saying, despite other voices in the train or in the cabin. Diba? If the captain tries to announce something and then you heard it, even there are other noises, then you're trying to understand. They're filtering the other noises, and then you're hearing what is the most important announcement only. Okay. Another example is trying to listen to a friend's story while walking down a busy street. What do you do? What do you do for you to be able to listen to that particular friend of yours while that your friend is telling a story? In order to listen to your friend, what she's saying, what you need to do is to ignore the noises in your environment for you to be able to focus, for you to be able to understand what your friend is telling to you, what your friend is sharing to you. Diba? Active listening, or attending rather, also involves being able to discern human speech, also known as the speech segmentation. identifying auditory stimuli as speech, but not being able to break down those speech sounds down into sentence and word would be a failure for us to listen in terms of the listening process. Yeah. When you're discerning speech segmentation, it is a more difficult activity when the listener is faced with an unfamiliar language. If I'm going to speak in Filipino or in Tagalog, not all of you are are understand or speak Tagalog. So I have to express or to deliver my talk in English so everybody could understand. So I will not be isolating other people or other non-English those English speaking people and who will be able to understand me more rather than delivering it in pure Tagalog. Okay. The next stage would be the understanding stage. The understanding stage is the listening process. In the listening process, is understanding or comprehension is shared meaning between parties in a communication transaction, and it constitute the first step in the listening process. Understanding or comprehension is a shared meaning between parties in communication transactions and makes up the first step in the listening process. In this stage, during which the listener determines the context and the meaning of the word he or she hears, we try to determine the context and meaning of the individual words, what the person is saying. But we're going to segment it, segmentation. We're going to understand what this word is, what does it mean, diba? As well as as well as assigning meaning in words, which is essential to understand the entire sentence. Just like when I'm teaching in special education, since I'm special education teachers, when I ask the child to read a sentence, before the child could read a sentence, I tried the child to read first or to understand first a certain word. If the child could read words, special Dutch words, fry words, and then I'm going to integrate it to make it a phrase. When they know how to read the words, then they could create phrase or phrases. Then eventually they'll be able to read or to use those single words into sentences. So this is essential to also in terms of understanding the speaker's message. Okay, you have to understand first that single word for the speaker to be able to understand the entire word or the context of what you're saying. Okay, once the listener or the listeners understand the speaker's main point, they can sort out the rest of the information they're hearing and decide where it belongs in the mental outline. For example, when you hear a political candidate, you listen to political candidate, her opponent's arguments to understand what policy decisions that opponent supports, di ba? We have to understand yung mga, di ba, the campaign, those slogans, di ba? We have to listen and then we're trying to, you're going to say all those words, but as we listen, we have to filter and to understand if this particular candidate what is he telling, will this particular candidate able to get our vote, diba? And before getting the big picture of a message, it's difficult to focus on what the speaker is saying. Okay, let's try to think about that you walk into a lecture room or into your classroom. If you're a student, na you're going you're late, and then you're going to go inside your classroom, and then the lesson is already uh halfway through. You may immediately understand the words and the sentences that you are hearing, but not immediately understand what the lecturer or your teacher or your professor is providing, or whether what you're what you're hearing or what you have heard at the moment is the main point or the side note or the is that the real lesson or the context of the lesson that the teacher is trying to point out, because you came in late. Okay, so understanding what we hear is a huge part of our everyday lives, particularly in terms of gathering basic information. Like in the office, people listen to their superiors for instructions, right? About what they are going to do. At schools, students listen to teachers to learn new ideas. So it's very important that we're going to understand. But without understanding what we hear, none of this everyday listening would 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 rely or have any practical information to us. There would be no impact if we're not be able to understand it. If we're not going to get what is the meaning of it, it is useless. We cannot what the people will just say that they're gonna talk, and they get you're just not going to understand if you're not going to listen well. Okay. Next is the third stage is the evaluating stage. This stage of the process is the one during which the listener assess the information they receive, both qualitatively and quantitatively. Evaluating allows the listener to form an opinion of what they have heard, and if necessary to begin developing a response. During the evaluation stage, the listener determines whether the information they heard and understood from the speaker is well constructed or disorganized, biased or unbiased, true or false, significant or insignificant. Okay. They also find out how and why the speaker has come up with something and convey the message that they delivered. Yeah. What is the basis? This may be involved considering speakers' personal or professional motivations and goals, diba? Yeah. What is your reason behind why you're saying it? What is your reason behind by telling it, diba? You have to evaluate why the person said it, why the person reacted to this particular situation. You have to analyze it. You have to understand it. Yeah, you have to evaluate it, diba? And it's just people when you talk about when you're in the evaluating stage, it it happened that it course most effectively once the listener fully understand what the speaker is trying to say. Yeah, we need to understand. Okay. Yeah, while we can and sometimes do, we form our opinions of information and ideas that we don't fully understand, or even that we misunderstand doing, rarely rarely in the long run. If we're not going to evaluate it, we're going to just give our opinion by not understanding the real scenario, by not listening to the person, why the person reacted that way, why the person said this. You're not If you're not going to evaluate it, then you're not be able to you're going to have some sort of misunderstanding. Okay. Having a clear understanding of the speaker's message allows us a listener to evaluate the message without getting back down into to spending unnecessary time and energy trying to address points that may be tangible or otherwise not essential. You're trying to why it happened, why did you say it? Just try to evaluate it slowly so that you're going to see the result. You're going to understand it. This stage is very critical analysis. It is very important for listeners in terms of how or what they heard will affect their own ideas, decisions, actions, and our belief. How we respond in this particular stage, in evaluating stage is how we respond. Yeah, how as we listen, how we respond to this particular situation in this particular stage. Okay, we're going to have we're on the fourth stage. This is the responding stage. The responding stage is the stage of the listening process wherein the listener provides verbal and nonverbal reaction based on short or long-term memory. Following the remembering stage, a listener can respond to what they hear verbally or non-verbally. Okay? You're going to verbally or non-verbally. Yeah. When you talk about non-verbal signals, can it could include some sort of nodding, making eye contact, tapping pen, fidgeting, scratching or cooking their heads, smiling, rolling their eyes, grimacing, or other body language. When you show nonverbal responses, these responses could display uh, with a purpose or involuntarily. You're not the conscious, or you're not you're not very conscious with your with how you react with your facial expression, with your body language, and responding verbally. Well, if that's those nonverbal responses, rolling your eyes, nodding, tapping pen, you're just showing as if you're not interested. Responding verbal might involve asking a question, requesting additional information, redirecting or changing the focus of conversation, like cutting off a speaker or repeating what the speaker has said back to you in order to verify what to verify the message, and then for you to be able to understand it. Okay. Yeah. Another thing is that responding adds action to the listening process, which would otherwise be an outward. It's an outward passive process. Often the speaker looks for verbal and nonverbal responses from the speaker to determine if and how their message is being understood or considered based on the based on the listener's responses. The speaker can choose to either adjust or continue with the delivery of the message. Like, for example, if a listener's bro, I don't see you because we're talking on a virtually. I'm doing it virtually. If the listener's bro is prone and your arms are crossed, I might I might think or determine that I need to lighten my voice to better communicate my point. If a listener, just like you're listening right now, is smiling and nodding or shake or asking question, then I as speaker may feel that that you as listeners are engaged and my message is being communicated to you effectively. Okay? Like that. Remembering the okay, next one is sorry. Okay, the next one is the remembering stage. In this listening process, the remembering stage occurs as the listener categorizes and retains the information she's gathered from the speaker for future access. The result, memory allows the person to record information about people, objects, events for later recall. This happens both during and after the speaker's delivery. Memory is very essential throughout the listening process. We depend on our memory to fill in the blanks when we're listening and to let us place what we're hearing at the moment in the context of what we're with what we have heard. Like, for example, you forgot everything that you heard immediately after you heard it. Diba? There are times that you you could easily forget what you have heard, then you need to ask somebody to please repeat it, di ba? You would not be able to follow along with what the speaker says, and conversation could be impossible. Yeah. When I do some sort of thesis consultation, I always tell my thesis advices, especially if we do not do it on writing it, they just going to follow my instructions. I always tell them na you listen, try to understand it. If you could jot it down, try to jot it down, because when you ask me back, I might not be able to tell you or to go back to what I have said. So you better write it down, because if you cannot, if you're going to ask me what was that, mom, what did you say a while ago, then I'm not be able to repeat back or to tell you back what I did say during the uh, previous text. So you have to write it down, because when you distract me when I was giving my advices and thesis, yeah, I want to do it spontaneously, so that you'll be able, I could give you a better advice, but you're going to butt in, then you're going to distract me, and I'll be I might not be able to lose my momentum in giving those recommendations or corrections in your in writing your thesis or your paper. Yeah, yeah. That's what that you need to do, to be very. That's the reason I always tell them, just listen, and then if you want to jot it down, you could record it so that I'll not get distracted. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, as I've said a while ago, yeah, remembering previous information is critical to moving forward. Similarly, making association to past remembered information can help a listener understand what she or he currently hearing or heard in a wider context. As I've said, in listening to a lecture about the symptoms of depression, for example, a listener might able to connect to the description of the character in a novel that you've heard a way back, while the friend of hers is trying to tell a story about her depression. She might be able to relate it, that oh, it's so similar to that story that I have heard, that I have read, diba? Yeah, yun ang important. It's very important, okay? Using information immediately after receiving receiving it, or being after receiving it, it you're going to enhance the information retention and lessens the forgetting curve, or the rate at which we no longer retain information in our memory. Conversely, retention is lessened when we engage in mindless listening and little efforts made to understand to a speaker's message. You just have to focus. When you're going if the speaker is trying to say something, you have to focus. Try to listen. At times, kasi no, when we try to listen, there are most of the time we have a lot of mental chatters. There are those chattering in our mind that you cannot focus. There are people our mind is not in we cannot understand most of the time, and once we're not focused, one of the reasons is we're not interested with what the speaker is telling, so we cannot remember it, because we try to, especially those and as a teacher, no, yeah, in special education, most of the time our students with ADHD, they're always what we call the space cadet. We call them a space cadet because they often daydream. They're daydreamers. So even though you discuss things, when you ask about the story, or about the reading passage, or about an activity that we presented to him, you're going to tell the class that this is the procedure for you to do it, or these the instructions. Then he's just going to stare at you. Then when you ask him, oh, well, you start working on your activity now. Then he just, ma'am, a teacher, you did not tell me the instructions. I do not know the instruction. I do not know how to do it. So he's a, he's not he he is already off focus or off task and he cannot remember already, so we have to repeat the process and then they're gonna tell them we're gonna tell him again, "No, okay, this is the instruction, this is the direction for you to finish your activity." Diba? So we have to ask the child to remember. What we do for our students with special needs for them to remember the skills is to do a lot of repetitions. We cannot just the child understand and that's it. We have to go for the all those kinds of types of listening skills from the very first stage up to the last stage. They have to understand it. I'm integrating it not only in workplace that you have to remember all those stages or to understand those stages, even using all these stages in your students in your classroom, that they're going to have to understand or be an active listener for them to be able to engage in your lessons effectively and attentively and actively. If they're not going to understand the process of listening skills, then they will not be able to engage. Engagement is very important in the classroom. But how can you engage if these children cannot understand? If these children do not listen? So you have to get them into the stages for them to able to understand the lesson. You have to ask them, to evaluate them and ask them questions for them to be able to get the result, and at the end of the lesson try them ask them what the lesson is all about, or if they understand the lesson then they're going to ask them to retell or do some activities that will be able to help them understand what what you did, or what the story was all about. Or you could ask if what uh about the assignment, about the reading lesson. You're going to do those things for your students inside your classroom. Okay. Next one is, okay, what is the benefit of, ay, ito na ba? Sorry. Okay, the benefit of active listening. Active listening strengthens workplace relationships, improve problem solving, and increase productivity. Give your full attention and listen to understand. Whether you're seeking a new job opportunity, striving to earn a promotion, or working to improve in your current role, improving your active listening skills will help you succeed. Much like critical thinking and conflict resolution, these soft skills will help increase your value as an employee. If you're going to able to develop your listening skills, your active listening skills. Yeah. Yeah. What are the benefits? And I'm going to, there are several benefits of being an active listener. First is it helps you build connections. Active listening helps others feel comfortable sharing information with you. When you demonstrate your ability to sincerely listen to what others have to say, people will become more interested in communicating with you regularly. This can help open up opportunities to collaborate with others, to get work done quickly or start your projects. These things can help you to succeed in your career. Yeah, just like when in coaching, I've been trained as a life coach. Yeah, one of our mantras. Uh, we were told by our master coaches that you talk, we listen. We listen to our coaches as they tell their stories. So because when you listen to them, they feel that they are being understood. But we are not trained to solve problems of our coaches. We're there to listen to them, for them to be able to help to build a better relationship, for them to feel that they are in terms of belongingness. Yeah, somebody to listen to, somebody to understand them. That's one of the benefits of coaching. Yeah, we build connections. Okay. Another thing is it helps you build trust. Also in coaching, yeah, it's not easy for somebody to open up, diba? When people they can speak freely with you without interruptions, judgment, or unwelcome uh interjections. They'll be more likely to be confident in you. This is especially helpful when meeting a new customer or a client or a business contact with whom you want to develop a long-term working relationship. Diba? It's very important that you're going to be able to get their trust as you listen to them. Okay. Then another one is it helps you identify and solve problems. Active listening to others will help you detect, okay, just like in coaching, I'm saying, to detect challenges and difficulties others are facing or problems within projects. The more quickly you're able to spot these issues, you sooner you could find a solution to create a plan to address it. Just like in our center, yeah, I need to understand the excess baggages of the parents of our children with special needs. They also have their own emotional excesses. So I have to talk to them. I have to understand them. Why they're getting upset with their kids with special needs. Why they get easily angered. Why do they have their own tantrums? Because they don't get support. If you listen to them, you're going to listen and understand their emotions. When you try to process their own emotions, they'll be able to become better persons, become better parents. Because if you're not going to empower them and you're not able to identify the problems, then it will just keep on persisting. Then the one who will suffer is the child with special needs. And also with the parents, they will get stressed. When they get stressed, they're not going to able to get the right solution to help their child with special needs. So if you're able to listen to the needs and to the pro to the and able to identify the problems of the parents of a child with special needs, then and able to empower them and help them resolve it, then they will become better parents for their children with special needs. Another thing is, another benefit is it helps you increase your knowledge and understanding of various topics. Diba? When you deal with when you deal with people, like great employees are always striving to learn something new and grow their knowledge base. You try to connect, you try to interact with other people, so you'll be able to grow your knowledge, because active listening helps you return information. It will help you also better understand new topics and remember that you've learned, so you can apply it in the future. When you heard something, oh, no, it's good. Yeah, then you're going to process it. As you listen, you learn from what they're sharing. And then based on their sharing, you're going to try to formulate something in your mind that will be helpful for you in your business, helpful for you in your career, or whatever you're going to do for you to become a better person. It helps you to avoid missing critical information when you try to increase your knowledge and understand various topics in terms of having of active listening, because active listeners are highly engaged with the speaker. When we become highly engaged with the speaker, they're able to recall specific details when they share it to you, diba? This is especially important when the speaker is something like proving or providing instructions, training you on a new process, or delivering a message you're responsible for passing to others, diba? You have to this is one of the benefits. You have to understand some sort of critical information. Baka you miss something, then by actively listening to the speaker, you're going to learn to connect the dots. or the missing puzzle to that particular question, you're able to get the answer to that particular question by being an active listener. Okay. Next one is techniques for active listening. First is the paraphrasing. This is something like you try to summarize the main points of the message the speaker shared to show you fully that you fully understand their meaning. This will also give the speaker the opportunity to clarify vague information or expand their message. So how do you do it? Example. Uh, so what you're saying is your current content management system is no longer or does not meet your team's technical needs because it does not support a large file of videos. Diba? You're going to, if somebody says to you na, oh, my management doesn't support me anymore. Yeah. Instead of, is that so? Yeah, your management might not be too supportive about you. What you have to do is to try to paraphrase it by saying it by just what I've said a while ago. You might say or you want to say it. Okay, your current management or the system that you have right now is does not meet your the technical requirements for you to run your video presentation because it does not support large files. You try to paraphrase it, okay? And then you could also use some sort in active listening. You could also use some the by asking open-ended questions. By asking questions that show you gather the essence of what they've shared and guide them to into sharing additional information, make sure that the questions that you're going to ask is cannot be answered with a simple yes or no. Okay, you're not going to answer what is yeah, you have to expand it. It's not just simply okay, yes, okay, no. Yeah, you might say as a listener, yeah, okay, maybe you're right. The onboarding procedures could use some updating, or the video or the management system needs some sort of updating. What changes would you want to make to the to process over the next 6 months? What would you like us to do? How can you what suggestion can you make for us to be able to upgrade to increase the memory or to make it a large video files? You have to ask them questions and try to give the opportunity for them to expound the question by not just simply answering your questions with a yes or no. Okay, and then ask, and they're going to need to make a follow up by asking specific probing questions. When you say about probing questions, you ask direct questions that guide the listener or the reader to provide more details about the information that you've shared or narrow down the broad subject or topic. Like if you're a teacher and you're having some sort of bad day, and then because maybe you're a friend of yours, yeah, the listener would ask you like, tell me more about your current workload. Which of those projects is the most time consuming? Okay, it's more on probing, so that you're that you're going to help the other person share, and for you to be able to listen to what that person is going through. If the person is having some difficulty because overload na siya, she has a lot of work to do, then you could tell or ask by providing specific probing questions for you to elicit or to get more responses. Okay, and at the same time, use short verbal affirmations. Short positive statement will help the speaker feel more comfortable and show you're engaged and able to process the information they're providing. Small verbal affirmations help you continue the conversation without interrupting the speaker or disrupting their flow. Yeah, you could just simply say, "Okay, understand. I see. Yes. Yeah, I agree." You do that. Just a simple verbal affirmation because you're going as you interact with the speaker is saying, as you become an active listener. Okay, and being an active listener, you need to display as well some sort of empathy. Yeah, make sure the speaker understands you're able to recognize their emotions and share their feelings by showing compassion rather than just feeling it. You're able to connect with the speaker and begin establishing a sense of mutual trust. You know, if you are if you're a counselor, if you are a psychologist, school psychologist, you need to practice empathic listening. You have to listen what both parties are telling, and you don't need to be biased. You just have to be empathic for those people trying to have some sort of resolving. If you're going to resolve a conflict, you need to be an active and at the same time empathic listener, because you have to understand and to be able to show them compassion, and then and for you to be able to connect. Yeah, just like you could say that, oh, okay, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry that you're dealing with this particular problem, and I guess we have to figure out some ways, uh, or so that I could help. We have to find some meaning. We have to see what we could do to resolve the issue or your problem. You have to be there, you have to be present with that person as you listen. Just don't listen, try to feel. Yeah, and show compassion to your to the speaker. You have to understand the feeling of the person. Just like in our center. Yeah, I always find time to listen to the endless rants of the parents. They're going to share everything, their emotions, the high and low in their lives as a mom of a child with special needs, as a mom of an NT, not only those with ND. Yeah, they're having some trouble with their in-laws. You need to try to listen to the endless listening. You have to understand their emotions, their feelings, and then they need to feel that you're with them, that you understand what they're going through. Yeah. Another thing in techniques in active listening is share similar experiences. Now, if you're friends, you're going to be able to discuss comparable situation. Uh, discuss it. When you discuss comparable situations, will not only show the speaker you successfully interpreted their message, okay, but it could also assist in terms of building relationship, because you could share, oh, this is the same thing that I also experienced that particular situation. Yeah, diba? You're going to, oh yeah, I've been there already. I already experienced that particular situation. Then you could relate with what the speaker is telling as you listen to the story. And then if the speaker has shared the problem, providing input for how you solve similar problems invaluable which is valuable to others. If this particular person shared something that is similar to your situation, then you're able to resolve it already, then maybe you could share how you're able to resolve it. You could share the techniques or strategies that how you cope. Just like with my parents in our center. I always make kwento or story or share experiences about the parents in our center. Yeah. Uh my students, I do have students who are younger and I do have students who are already older kids. So the parents of those children who are already older kids will share their experience to newly to new parents whose children are newly diagnosed with special needs, let's say autism. The parents, the new parents will gain strength and inspiration from the parents with whose kids are already older, because they're going to say na, oh, I already went through that part of process. It's really difficult, but we were able to pass through those stages. And then they're going to share their experiences, and the parents who are just with children who are newly diagnosed, they get some sort of inspiration, and then they do have some hope. Oh, my kid will be able to overcome all those sleepless nights, all those being picky eater, and toilet problems with toilet training, yeah, problem with dressing, problems with regulation, because they saw that the parent of the older kid able to manage, able to train the child who's who was once like the child of the newly diagnosed kid. Okay. And the last thing is that recall previous shared information. Okay. Try to remember key concepts, ideas, or other critical points the speaker has shared to you in the past. Like nga, if you're go if my the older parent and the new parent will be able to meet or see again after 3 months or after 6 months, because in our center our parents do not see each other often, except for some once or twice a year na sila they could during our Christmas party or small gathering, but not often. So when they see each other, they're gonna share the information that they got from the older parent to the young parent, and then they're going to compare notes. They're going to see how the progress happened. uh if the younger parents able to practice or do the same thing that what the older parent did to their kids, they're going to share the information to each other. They're going to check it with each other, how they are doing and how the kid is doing, and as a parent, how the new parent able to cope having a child with special needs. They try to recall and share the information that they have learned from each other, and through active listening. That as the older parents learn to listen, as the younger parents learn to listen to the older parents, they're able to gain information from them and from their experiences, shared experiences both. Okay, another thing is the techniques in nonverbal listening. By nodding, smile, as you avoid distractions, maintain eye contact. Diba? I already discussed this to you already. Yeah. Another thing is that, as my conclusion, is that because everyone has different memories, the speaker and the listeners may attach different message meanings to the same statement. In this sense, establishing common ground in terms of context is extremely important for listeners and speakers. Effective listening is key to building strong workplace relationships. Listen attentively by focusing on the speaker. Avoid interruption and ask questions. And I would like to thank you for listening about importance of active listening in the workplace. And I'll be stop sharing, and if you have questions, please ask na lang po. Magandang gabi po.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your rich content presentation, which can impact our knowledge seeker. Surely, after your presentation, I hope our knowledge seeker can learn something new. Was your only intention? Learn and grow together as GP knowledge seeker. Once again, thank you so much, dear ma'am, for your presentation. Now, ma'am, it's time for our question and answer session. It's the one more valuable part of our regular paper. Honorable ma'am, please stay with us. After a short video, we'll be back in our session part 2, which is the question and answer part.
Thank
Dear
you.
RGP knowledge seekers, please ask your questions in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question and answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear RGP knowledge seekers, please ask your questions in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question and answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Thank you, ma'am. Our first question is come from Isahi, and his question is: active listening has how many stages?
Five stages: receiving, understanding, evaluating, remembering, and responding stages.
Uh, thank, Thank you, ma'am. Our second question is come from Ray Pualo. Uh, Active listening requires with both verbal and non-verbal cues. How can you effectively utilize non-verbal cues such as body language and facial expression to demonstrate active listening and create a supportive environment in the workplace?
Okay, first is you have to make your proper eye contact, beware of your body language, use facial expression, don't lie, play with your tone of voice, and then pay attention to the discrepancies in terms of behavior. And then when you're in doubt, you ask, and then practice makes perfect.
Thank you, ma'am. Our third question is: how can we apply active listening in teaching profession? Thank you, ma'am.
We'll just have to listen to be first as a teacher. I want to be more empathic listener. I have to listen to my students. I need to listen to what they are not to most especially in terms of nonverbal language. They do not say anything. You have to listen to them. As a teacher, you need. If you're a teacher, it is. I just want to make follow-up question to that.
Chalo.
Is it more of the as a teacher to teacher or teacher to student? If it is teacher to teacher, you have to listen to what your co-teacher is telling you. You need to be more empathic and try to understand what the teacher is going through. And then at the same time, if you're a teacher or you're listening to your students, you have to understand also what the students is going through. You need to be more of an empathic listener for you to not only being an active listener, you need to be an empathic listener for you to be able to understand what the teacher is going through, how to become an active active listener. Yeah, thank you also, Ray Paulo Libiran. Evaluating, evaluating po. You have to
What
you have
do you say? Thank you, ma'am. I think we have covered all of our topics and questions. Um,
okay. Thank you.
um, Once again, thank you so much, Honorable Ma'am, for your time in IGP. We have learned a lot from you with new topics. It will add some value to day-to-day activity along with our academic and professional growth. Honorable Ma'am, hope to see you again with a new topic and new date. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Certificate instruction, visit www.eduigp.com. Please make sure your presence on our website, find a learning session and get enrolled. After watching or completing part 1, video session, click mark as complete. Moving to the next, which will continue. Moving to the next, which is the learning test quiz. Passing mark 80% if passed. Back to the course again to download a certificate if failed to retake the quiz. Download a certificate in PDF or JPG. For your attention, I am going to share the procedure again. Certificate instruction, visit www.eduigp.com. Please make sure your presence on our website to sign up or sign in. Find a learning session and get enrolled. After watching or completing part 1, video session, click mark as complete. Move to the next, which is the learning test quiz, passing mark 80%. If passed, back to the course again to retake the course. Download a certificate in PDF or JPG. Dear IGP Knowledge Seekers, it's time for the most engaging part of this webinar, which is an online quiz competition, which is a regular activity. বলছি তো এইমাত্রই তো বললাম ভাইয়া এইমাত্রই তো বললাম কোথায় গেছিলে Now time for the online quiz competition. To join online quiz competition properly, please follow my instructions carefully. Now time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instructions carefully. ওটা অ্যাক্টিভ করে দিছি তুই We are now start our quiz session. Our first question is social cognitive theory, a person's cognition, behavior, and environment influence development. A Bronfenbrenner, B. Bandura. Correct answer is B. On the leaderboard, first person name is Laika Me T. Aranico. Best known for experimental work in animal behavior and motor theory development. A. Margaret Floy Washburn. B. Dorothea Dix. স্যারকে একটু মেসেজে জিজ্ঞেস করার না আমিও যাবো কিনা। Correct answer is A. On the leaderboard, first person name is Laika Meti Aronico. Subjective theories include social cognitive and co-negative behavior theory. A. True, B. False. Correct answer is true. On the leaderboard, first person name is Laika Meti Aronico. Started development psychology and introduced theory of co-negative development. A. Kohlberg, B. Pygott. Correct answer is B. On the leaderboard, first person name is Laika Meti Aronico. Piaget intellectual development theory has two main theories: cognitive negative development theory and a theory of learning process, ZPD theory. Correct answer is A. On the leaderboard, first person name is Caifira Rivera. Social cognitive theory says direct reinforcement and observable behavior leads to personality development. A. True, B. False. জিজ্ঞেস করছেন স্যারকে জিজ্ঞেস করছেন জিজ্ঞেস করতেন আমি চলে যাবো কিনা মানে থাকবো এটা জিজ্ঞেস করতেন Correct answer is A. Correct, correct answer is A. On the leaderboard, first person name is Cafira Rivera. Next question is Piaget's theory is intellectual and co-negative development. A. True, B. False. Correct answer is A. On the leaderboard, first person name is Melchior Vagasin. Next question is who is introduced the zone of proximal development and theory of co-negative development. A. Sigmund Freud. B. Vygotsky. Correct answer is B. On the leaderboard, first person name is Carmilla Vigen. Next question theory emphasizes cognitive, emotional, and environmental influences on behavior. A. Social learning theory. B. Learning theory. Correct answer is A. On the leaderboard, first person name is Carmilla Vigen. Next question is social cognitive theory integrates cognitive, emotional, and behaviorist understanding of behavior change. A. True, B. False. সার্টিফিকেট আপনি বানাবেন? একটা আছে, এটা শেষ। Correct answer is true. On the leaderboard, first person name is Carmela Vijay. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competition winners top 10. Congratulations again. We'll take a few minutes to finalize the result, and after that we'll issue our online quiz competition certificates on our website and official Facebook page, Institute of Global Professionals. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competition winners top 10. Congratulations again. We'll take a few minutes to finalize the result, and after that we'll issue our online quiz competition certificates on our website and official Facebook page. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competition winners top 10. Congratulations again. We'll take a few minutes to finalize the result, and after that we'll issue our online quiz competition certificates on our website and official Facebook page. Institute of Global Professionals. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competition winners top 10. Congratulations again. We'll take a few minutes to finalize the result, and after that we'll issue our online quiz competition certificates on our website and official Facebook page, Institute of Global Professionals. At the end of our session, we can say properly feed your skills, never stop learning because life never stops teaching us. Be happy and stay safe. See you again and again. You want to participation in every program. If you want to live a happy life, tied to goal, not to people or things. Albert Einstein. Before I say or hit the end live button, I again want to thank all IGP knowledge seekers for your active participation. Hello, as always. See you in the next session. Thank you.